It's a November 2nd, 2021.
Oh,
Beautiful city of the villages in Florida. My name is Jong-Woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation, which has more than 1,500 interviews of Korean War veterans, not just from the United States, but also 21 other countries that were in the war. We are doing this for the special occasion, which is the commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the breakout of the Korean War, supported by the Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs of Republic of Korea, where that gives you the medal there. The medal was made by the MPBA. So I want to thank for the MPBA for this. And we are doing this, first of all, to preserve your memory. You told me that you are 90-year-old, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, so it must be more than 70 years ago,
Oh, yeah.
right? We're going to find that out, how old you were at the time. And to preserve your memory, but also to honor your service.
Thank you.
And to preserve your memory so that teachers can use in the classroom when they're talking about the Korean War, because our textbook only covers about one paragraph, very dry, all about MacArthur and Truman, not Tom. So that's why we are making this, okay?
Yes.
Thank you for coming again, and it's my great honor to meet you, sir. You came with your wife, so
Yes.
I'm going to ask her to join you later with you together.
Fine.
Tell me, what is your name, and spell it for the audience, please.
My name is Thomas P. DiGiovanna. Thomas, Thomas, P for Paul, and DiGiovanna is B-I capital Giovanna.
That's the Italian name?
I think so.
You're not sure about you?
No, I'm sure. In fact, my grandfather was from Sicily, so I am Sicilian.
So that's the Italian.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. I love the movie there, Sicily.
Yes.
So, what is your birthday?
My birthday is February 11th, 1931.
31?
31.
31.
That makes it 90 years this year.
Wow. You look great, sir.
Thank you.
I don't see much wrinkle in your face. What is the...
Not yet. She won't let them come. She keeps putting oil on the spots.
Olive oil?
Yeah.
Where were you born?
I was born in Brooklyn, New York.
Wow, I'm from New York.
Yes, I'm living in Long Island now, in a little town called Lindenhurst.
What do you mean you live in Long Island?
Well, I have a residence in Long Island besides the residence I have in Florida. I have family in New York, and I go to see them for Easter, Thanksgiving, and Christmas.
So at least you have two houses so far
Yes,
as I
but
know.
I'm down
so far.
here more than I am up in New York. I'm up in New York for the 3 holidays, and I stay like a week and a half or 2, and then I come back down.
Excellent.
I don't like the cold weather.
Me neither, but I'm from Syracuse, New York, so
Oh, you're really cold up there.
we love snow.
Yes, you do. You definitely.
So tell me about your family background, your siblings and your parents when you were growing up.
All right, I have a brother and a sister my age. My sister has passed, so right now it's my brother and I. Our parents are gone. I have a daughter that got married and presented me with a gift of a little girl. So I am a great-grandfather.
Great.
And I don't see the baby that much. We do it over the iPad, and we make an arrangement. And of course, she's now about 4 years old, but she doesn't sit still. So we'll see her for a minute or 2, and then she's gone.
Okay. So tell me about the school you went through was it Long Island or Brooklyn? Did you go through
Well,
the
I
schools?
was in elementary school and high school. in Brooklyn.
So when did you graduate high school? What school was it?
Samuel J. Tilden High School.
Samuel J. Tilden.
Tilden. Gentleman that ran for president and lost in about, I think it was 1929.
I see. When was it? When did you graduate?
In high school, I graduated in 49.
49?
Yes.
And tell
Yeah.
me about this. Did you learn anything about Korea when you were in high school?
No.
No?
That was Korea when
Yeah.
I was in high school.
Yeah,
I didn't know it existed.
really.
Nobody mentioned it. No teachers mentioned it. There was no reason to bring it up in any conversation that I had. The first time I knew of Korea was when I landed in Busan,
When was it?
1952. Yes, it was in July of 52. I was there a year and a month.
So-
2 months, even 2 months.
So you didn't even hear about Korea in the textbook?
No, sir.
Not in the geographies?
No, sir.
You didn't see Korea in the map either?
No, sir.
And now you landed in Busan, in
Busan,
July
in July.
1952.
Yes.
What did you think about Korea you saw at the time? Tell me honestly
The truth.
the truth.
I had never smelled such a bad smell except when I landed.
What kind of smell was it? Is it fish
Oh.
or?
No, I honestly don't remember.
Uh-huh.
I do know I was trying to hold my breath getting off the
Uh-huh.
ship, come down the gangplank because the smell was so bad to me. I mean, in New York, they don't use human waste for fertilizer. And I believe that's what I was smelling.
So-called honeypot.
And that was, yeah, exactly.
So there was fertilizer at the time in Korea.
Pardon me?
Fertilizer,
Yes,
the human waste.
yes.
Yeah. What else? What did you tell me the whole truth about Korea you experienced at the time that you landed and few days later?
Okay. Let me say that from boot camp in the United States, I got on the ship, all right? The majority of the class that I was in went to Germany, all right? There were 3 of us out of about 100 men that went to the Far East. Out of those 3, 2 went to Japan. 1 went to Korea. That was me. I guess they needed a radio operator over there.
So what did you think about it? You, to be honest, right?
Yes.
You wanted to go to Germany, right?
Oh, you better believe it. In fact, when I was, when you go into the Army, they don't give you a choice. It was you or this, 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 you or this. And you didn't ask for it, and I wanted to be a cook. I enjoy cooking, okay? So, a cook.
Does he cook for you now?
No.
No?
No, she
So you're lying to me now.
No,
I was working because, yeah.
Okay.
No, but it was unfortunate. That's the way it happens. You don't choose; they choose. I was very glad that I was not chosen as a wireman because that was one of the 3. It was a cook, a radio operator, or a wireman. All right. I'm afraid it's high places. I would not have been a good wireman climbing poles.
But anyway, you joined the army. When was it?
No, I did not join.
You were
the
drafted?
Army. I was drafted.
When was it?
And I was in November of 1951.
51? Yeah. Was it in the Brooklyn?
It was in Brooklyn. I went to Fort Dix for my training.
Fort Dix, right?
Yes,
In New Jersey.
in New Jersey
And so,
in November.
yeah. So when you were drafted, you hoped that you could go to Germany rather than.
Oh, I never even thought that, sir. All I knew was I was going to boot camp training,
Yeah.
and we had a sergeant that was in the service, a young man, a long time, and it was November, so we all had all out to the collar buttoned up, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, "You are a bunch of wussies. Open up that button on the top and feel that fresh air." Here it is November,
Yeah.
and you don't argue with sergeants in the army.
So when you hear that
Yes.
you are going to go to Japan, what did you think about it? Rather than Germany, did you?
I was not too happy.
Right.
I mean, because the greatest majority were going to Germany. There was no war in Germany where there was a conflict in the Far East in Japan. There was 3 of us that went over there. The whole group, 3 of us went to Japan. Went
Japan
to the Far East.
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 went to Japan. 1 went to Korea.
So where Japan? Tokyo or Yokosuka?
Oh, I
Where
have
was
no
it?
idea where
No
they
idea.
ended up. No.
So tell me then, you were chosen
Yes.
only one
Yes.
out of those
Out of all from basic, it was 100 guys.
to go to Korea.
To,
Tell me, what did you think about it at the time?
it's a long ways away. I was not a happy individual. I can
No,
tell
I
you
don't
that.
think you are honest with me.
Huh?
What did you say? Be honest.
Excuse my language. Oh shit! I'm going to Japan, the Far East,
And then Korea.
and then yeah.
What did you say? I know. Okay, so what was your unit?
I was in the 157th Artillery Battalion Headquarters Company.
Artillery
Battalion
Headquarters
Company.
Company.
Yes. And we were supporting 105 howitzers. That's the cannon.
So what the artillery battalion? Where does that belong? What is the infantry? The division.
Oh, well, they're in front of the 105 howitzers. We were small cannon.
Okay.
And we would support infantry.
And
we were about a mile away, I would say, from the front lines.
Okay, so
Probably closer.
what was your specialty?
A radio operator.
Radio operator.
Yeah. You know, ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
Morse code.
Morse code. Spent 12 weeks in boot camp learning the Morse code, and I could do 12 words a minute. Yeah.
12 minutes. 12 words a minute.
No.
No, that's not that good. More than that. 12 words
No,
per
you got
second.
No. You have to understand, we were going in knowing nothing.
Right. So when you landed in Busan, how was Busan like? Was it destroyed?
I did not see Busan. I smelled Busan. We got up and we got on deuce and a half, the trucks, and we were taken up to our companies. We didn't even stay overnight in Busan. We were taken out right away.
Right away. Where did you go?
To my headquarters company.
Where was it? The city
No, it was in North Korea.
in North Korea?
Yes.
No.
I don't know exactly where in North Korea. My memory is not that good. I was hoping maybe you would tell me.
Was like a camp name, like a Munsanmi or Pokchap Hill?
Oh, no.
Where were you?
That's my problem.
West
I
or
don't-
east?
I believe I was west.
West.
No. I believe I was on the East Coast.
East Coast.
East Coast.
Okay.
Well, above the 48th parallel.
48th parallel. So
Yes.
like a Pokchap, Heartbreak Ridge?
Sir? I
No?
know.
Okay.
I see. Not being in the infantry,
Okay.
I was not in any of those
Got it.
hills. Headquarters company is for about half a mile behind your cannon. All right, have to be close enough. We had to be close enough that the searchlights that were stationed in headquarters company would reach the front lines, and because the infantrymen called for the headlights, the big searchlights, because the Chinese were coming up the hill and they wanted to see them, and we had to put headlights, searchlights.
So was Chinese, not North Korean?
No, it was Chinese.
Chinese.
Yes, yes.
So tell me about, have you been back to Korea since then?
No,
No?
I've had a beautiful opportunity. I was invited by, well, not I personally, all of the soldiers, servicemen were invited to return to Korea
Yeah.
at the expense of the Korean government.
Yeah.
And like a fool, I did not go.
You want to go back?
Not now.
Not now.
No reason to go back now. I mean, I would never know, where would I go? To Seoul? And I was on the, as far as I know, on the other side of the country, I certainly couldn't go into North Korea, so there would be, I don't think, any reason.
But do you follow up with what's going on in South Korea right now in terms of its economy and democracy and
Well,
so on? Do you know anything about?
I have a book that I purchased that is about South Korea, and it shows all of the refurbished cities,
Is it Reborn Korea?
reborn Korea. Yes,
What do you think?
beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I wish I had more of a adventurous spirit that I would have gone back. I think Andrew would have loved to go back, but
We still have a program. You can go if you want to. I can put your name into it, and you can go with Andrea together.
That's up to you, honey, you know. That's,
you're going to do all the work.
So, when did you leave Korea?
In September of 1953,
So you were there
a
a
year.
year. Why? What did you extend it?
No.
Normally, soldiers are supposed to be there for 6 months.
Maybe now, not then.
Huh, okay.
If the war, and I call it a war, was longer than that period of time, went into November or December, I would have been there for that period of time.
So when you left Korea, already war ended in July, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me about it. Where were you when the
War-
ceasefire signed?
Okay. I was with my headquarters company, all right? And we were asked, each side, to pull back, I guess a half a mile from the 48th parallel, okay? And being with a headquarters company of 105 howitzers, we had to pull back a mile. The same with our brethren on the other side, okay? Well, these gentlemen were not stupid. They were not going to carry all those artillery shells back a mile. They were going to get rid of them, okay? So the firing started. We fired our artillery shells at them, and they did the same to us. And we got incoming rounds. And I remember running under a truck and saying, God damn it, I'm going to get killed the last day of the war because we were under artillery fire. But luckily, I'm still here, so I didn't get injured or hit with any artillery shells. But we did pull back. And that's what I remember at the end of the war.
So you were relieved, right?
Well, I was there until September.
No, I mean when you see that the war ended, you
Yeah.
were relieved.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean, I remember one significant thing, and this is remembered a long time. Being in headquarters company, we were behind the lines. But we had a road that went up and down past us for the soldiers that were going to the front. They were being loaded into a deuce and a half and brought to the front line companies, the rifle companies. And the gentlemen in those trucks were very quiet. No laughing, no fooling around. There was also the gentlemen coming down that were relieved to go back. And the guys in those trucks laughing, joking around, having a great time because they were coming off the front line and they were glad about it. So that I definitely remain, yeah. Remember that sort of stuff.
So after the armistice, the ceasefire, what
Yes.
did you do? I mean, the last minute, there was severe exchange of artillery between
Yes.
North Korea and UN forces because they wanted to gain even an inch of the land, right?
Well, no, my opinion was they didn't want to carry back the artillery shells. One way to do that was to get rid of them.
And you were lucky to
I was
survive
lucky that because they didn't aim and say, "Oh, I think I'm going to hit that." I think they just wanted to get rid of it and fire them off, so they have to carry it back, which is not stupid, you know.
But you might be killed, you know?
Yes, sir, that could have happened,
Yeah.
or even hit with shrapnel or something, you know, be wounded. But
Yeah.
thank God, nothing of that happened.
So after that ceasefire, what did you do? What did your unit do there? There was no fight, right?
Right? No.
So what did you do?
We left. We pulled. We were. My units, to my knowledge, the unit pulled back, say a mile, if that was what the plan was, and then from that time in September, I was picked up by truck, taken down to Pusan, and picked up by ship. I got seasick going back, as I did coming forward.
So you left Korea September of 1953.
Yes,
and
sir, in September.
be honest, please, with me. Had you ever thought that Korea would become like this today?
No, I never thought about it
Why?
because I was just happy about going home. That's why. You know, I mean, I had been away. To me, a year and a half that I was away, say, was a very happy time. I mean, not a happy time, but you know,
It was war. How
it was
can you
war.
be happy?
Right? No, I was not happy about being away. And one thing I remember is I was very unhappy about missing Christmas,
I see.
because that was a big holiday for me. I had my family in the States and being over there in a hooch. And a hooch is like a log cabin, underground almost, 3/4 underground.
So, you now know the Korea was smelled bad and very destroyed,
Yes,
everything.
yes.
And now you saw from the book that Korea's full
New
of
York City.
like that. What do
Yeah.
you think about this?
I
whole
think
thing?
it's great. I honestly do. I think it's a wonderful thing that those people that remain took it upon themselves, with a little cash help, I'm sure, from the States, to rebuild Korea. Seoul looks beautiful from the book that I see, and I give them a lot of credit for rebuilding that country.
Are you proud of your service?
Oh, yes. I would never never do what some of the men in this country did during the Korean War of running up to Canada to escape being drafted.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
And I think they're cowards, but that's my opinion.
I see. Were there any dangerous moments during your service in Korea as a radio operator?
The only one, as I mentioned before, was at the end of the war when we relieved ourselves of our artillery. And because that was, just by luck that I didn't get killed or injured, because there was no special place that they wanted to hit a building. They were just firing away.
So tell us about this interview will be watched by the young students, okay, and the teachers. So tell me about the routine day of your service there. Where did you sleep? When did you wake up? What did you eat? What did you do during the day? And so on, so on.
My memory is not that good.
But just tell me. I know you can tell me.
Well, I know we slept in what we called a hooch.
Hooch.
Was a building.
Quonset?
Yes. No. Worse, logs, tree logs as a roof.
So
all right?
bunker.
As a bunker. all
Yeah.
right? Half underground. All right. So it was only a half of the bunker was above the ground with these logs as a roof to protect us. And we ate in our hooch. The chef had his kitchen, and the food was passed out. And the thing.
What kind of food? Was it ration or
No,
is
no,
it
no,
hot
no,
meal?
no, hot meal.
Hot meal? Like what? Scrambled egg or omelette? What did you eat?
Oh, what you would eat? I mean, breakfast, as eggs, and we didn't have ham and stuff like that. But the scrambled eggs, and we would actually go online and go to the kitchen and get in our mess kit the food and bring it back, and you could sit down in the hooch or be outside. And I remember sitting outside and eating our breakfast, right, and grumbling about the officers who sat at a table. All right, and I said, boy.
So you were having picnic. They were miserable eating
Yes.
inside of the office. Come on.
Well, I said, boy, if I ever made the Army my career, I would always go for being an officer. Okay.
What was your rank at the time?
A corporal.
Corporal.
Yes.
How much were you paid?
Oh, I had no idea.
Come on.
All I know is that we used to get our pay and combat pay. You got combat pay if you came under artillery fire every month, okay, once a month. And I remember some gentlemen were not very nice to the U.S. government. They took a grenade and threw it up against the side of the hill in any month that we didn't receive artillery fire. So we got our $50 a month, which I sent home.
He was wise. So, were you able to write letters back to your
yes.
family?
Oh, every day.
Yeah, every day.
Well, I was not a rifleman. If you're a rifleman and you're in a foxhole, that's not the best situation. I was in a hooch, as I call it, all right? And that's what it was called then. And I could sit down and write a letter, and I would receive a letter from my wife at the same time.
You were married at the time?
Oh, yeah, I was married.
Tell me about it. When did you marry?
I got married, not with Andrea, okay?
I know.
This is my first wife.
Yeah.
We were 21 years old.
When was it then? 21
July,
is 40,
June. I got
43.
married in June of 1951.
What? So you left to Korea in 1952.
No, sir. I left Korea. I got married in June, and I was in boot camp in the Army, and I left in July. I had I had a honeymoon, but it was a 1 week honeymoon. I lucked out, okay? My wife was so stubborn. She wanted to get married before I went overseas. And you won't believe this, I had a wedding of, I would say, in a hall, all right, a big hall. My father believed in inviting everybody whose wedding he went to. So I had more guests than I could count in the hall. And this was in June 1st of 1951. I went on a 1 week honeymoon, and then I went back into the Army, and from there I was sent overseas.
What was your first wife's name?
Marie.
Marie M.
Marie.
And did you know her during the high school, or what happened? How did you know of her?
Yeah, well, all right. My sister invited Marie to our house one day, and that's when I met.
And
Marie.
you never missed her, huh? So, come on, it's so surreal. It's hard to believe that she wanted to marry to you knowing that you're going to go to war.
Yes, absolutely.
What a brave woman she was.
Well,
You could have been killed in the war.
yes, yes.
But she wanted to have a wedding ceremony.
Everything. Let me tell you, white dress, white gown, walking down the aisle in church. Everything.
Unbelievable. Are you Christian?
Yes, I'm Catholic, Roman Catholic.
Catholic?
Yes.
I have a book, by the way, there, and I want you to keep one of those.
All
That's
right.
a gospel, okay?
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, yes.
But, wow, so you were married.
Yep, I was
So you
married.
must have missed your wife so much.
Absolutely. I mean, you got to remember, I was on a honeymoon for 1 week, and then after that, overseas.
Unbelievable.
Didn't fool around with any. In fact,
You were
you
fool.
won't believe this. I was in Korea, all right? And as a Korean war vet, we would get 1 week's rehabilitation. back in-
R&R.
R&R,
Yeah.
back in Japan.
Right.
All right? So I was sent to Japan. And I have to tell you, the young ladies were lined up for us, all right? And I didn't take a woman. And the gentleman, their gentleman, would say, oh, look, all you have to do is just pick the girl you want. I said, no, I'm married. So
So,
I said, no, I made a vow. I'm not fooling around with any women while I'm in the service. And that's it. There's nothing more.
you were endangered species at the time.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, when I went back to camp, to my outfit in Korea, I was pointing out, there's the guy. There's the guy that didn't take a lady. There's the guy. So my wife, I don't think, believed me, but that I didn't take anybody.
Good for you. You were a faithful husband.
Yes,
and
I was.
You
Yep.
kept the vow.
Yes.
I respect you, sir.
Yeah.
And what was the most difficult moment during your service in Korea? If I ask you to pinpoint one out of many,
I mentioned it already.
what is it?
When I was overseas, the last day of the war, we were being bombarded with artillery shells, and I truly felt that I could be killed at that time because, you know,
Oh, I forgot about it. So you wrote back to your wife, right?
yes, yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah. And do you still keep those letters?
Well, I did keep them for a long time until India got jealous and threw them out. So,
Andrea,
Gotta blame somebody.
I don't know what happened to
You should
them.
also tell them what happened with your dad while you were there.
Oh, yeah.
what happened?
Well, my father passed when I was overseas
Oh, I'm sorry.
in Korea.
How did you know about it?
The chaplain came to me and told me. And my family in the States asked if I could come home on leave just to be with the family at that time
For the funeral.
for the funeral.
But they were not allowed
The
you.
Red Cross said no.
No.
He gave
Yeah.
no. That's why I am not in favor of any Red Cross programs.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm sorry. That must have been really hard
Yeah.
for you.
Yes.
Were you close
Well,
to your father?
Actually, yes, but I thought it was when I saw the chaplain, and I knew he was going to tell me not good news. I thought it was my mother because she was the one that always had something wrong with her. All right, my father didn't. They didn't tell me. Like I was able to make a phone call at home from Japan when I was there to home and talked. So I talked to my mother and brother and sister, but not my father, who was right there because he was very sick at the time. He had lung cancer, and he had the lung defibrillated and knocked down, and his heart wasn't the best, so he didn't want to talk to me. He was like almost near tears, and I would hear him. But
So you were able to talk to him over the
no,
phone?
he wouldn't talk to me.
Oh, okay.
He was afraid he would break down and
I
stay
see.
quiet.
So, what do you think about this whole thing? The changes, the Korea smelly, really miserable. Now Korea is one of the strongest economy in the world. What do you think about this whole thing? And you were there.
That's great. I honestly do. I think the people, the Koreans that rebuild the country, did an excellent job. I mean, I don't know the little itty bitty things that went on, you know, how much money they got from the government to rebuild Korea. I mean, but anybody that, you know, just doesn't lie down and let somebody walk all over it, fine.
So it's a great story to tell, isn't it?
I think it's a wonderful story that the Korean people are doing.
I mean,
Yes.
look at it. The United States been to other countries since World War II
Yes.
and fought the war, like a Vietnam War, war
Yes.
with Iraq and so on, and Afghanistan disaster. But out of those, all the wars that U.S. been since World War II,
Yeah,
anything that good came out of it is South Korea, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it.
sure.
But why we don't teach about these things in the classroom? Why we don't talk about it? Why is it known as a forgotten war?
Well,
Why?
I don't know why. Because it's the historians, the education department, the government is not putting it in the books. It should be. It was as much of a war as World War II. Men died in Korea, they died in World War II. And so, you know, when you get people killing each other, that should be in the books. Why?
You have a book right over there. Can you pick it up?
This one?
Yeah. And could you show that to the camera?
The
What do you see it? Can you read
Korean
it?
War
The
and
cover.
its
I mean,
legacy.
up to your chin. Yes. What is it?
This is the Korean War and its legacy, teaching about Korea through inquiry.
Inquiry.
Yes. The Korean War Legacy Foundation.
That's my foundation. We made it.
Yeah, you did. You wrote.
Yeah.
Very nice.
No. The history teachers of the United States
Yes.
wrote it. My foundation
Okay.
hired them and they wrote it.
This will be a very interesting book.
So I want to give
read.
it to you.
Thank you very much.
That has a 9 lesson plan, 3 for elementary, 3 for middle school, and 3 for high school, so that teachers can teach about the Korean War and the honorable service like you
Thank you.
of the Korean War veterans in the classroom.
That's
but-
wonderful.
But that book was written by our history teachers for the history teacher. They wrote it for their own teachers so that they can talk about it,
Yes.
but based on the interviews that I have done so far.
Good. Have you been to Washington, D.C.?
Absolutely.
Okay, so then you saw the statues, the memorial.
Yes.
In Washington. Yes.
You are great. This is another one. Do you see that
Yes.
soldier?
Oh, yes. That's just what they look like.
Yeah, could you show it to the camera?
Yeah.
To your chin? Yes. That's from the Korean War Veterans Memorial Park in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I've been there. and
You've been there, right?
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
I have.
But did you see any names of soldiers being killed in the park?
No.
No, right?
No. But they have for the Vietnam veterans.
Yes.
Yes.
Korean government
Yeah,
donated $24 million
Yes.
to the Memorial Park Foundation,
Yes.
and they are going to complete the Wall of Remembrance.
They are.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So they're going to inscribe the names of those being killed during the action.
Yes.
There will be a Wall of Remembrance there.
Fine. I am so happy to hear that.
And so my foundation will make a curriculum book about that.
Okay. Do you know when that's coming?
Yeah, it's going to be completed in May 2022.
Oh, wow.
And we are going to have a big commemoration event on July 27 of next year in the park. And we are going to make a curriculum book like that for the Wall of Remembrance and DPAA, Defense POWMIA Accounting Agency, which is headquartered in Honolulu, Hawaii. I am going to go to Hawaii to look around
really?
it, site
Yeah.
visit, and so that we can make a curriculum book about those Wall of Remembrance and DPAA, and that's the way to complete our tribute to our hero.
Yeah. Very,
Okay.
very nice. Oh, yes.
Yep.
Very nice.
So your story will be also part of the whole thing,
I
okay?
didn't say it. I didn't even know why I was coming today.
You wanted to go to Germany, not to Korea, right?
Well, as you can see, my memory is not exactly the best.
I
So,
think you have a vivid memory. You're remembering the date of wedding.
oh yeah.
Andrea may not like it.
No, actually, I remember our wedding in 1993 with Andrea.
Anything you want to say to the Korean people about your service?
I was visited by the Korean representative. It wasn't an ambassador who gave me the medal.
Yeah.
And she told me, besides the medal, she said, if the United States hadn't sent soldiers over there, that she would not even have been born.
Right.
She says her country would have been overtaken with the North Koreans, and she would not have been available to hand me that medal that day. So, and that made me very proud at that time. Yes.
That's what you did, and
Yes.
that is your legacy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Tom, really,
you,
I
yes.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Andrea Di Giovanna,
Okay, so
wife.
you must be the wife
the
of
wife of Thomas.
Thomas.
Yes.
Right. And when did you marry him?
October 10th, 1993.
October 10th, 1993.
93.
And tell me, did Tom ever mention about his service in the Korean War?
Yes.
What did you hear from him?
Constantly.
He talked about the transport going from the United States on the ship, how he got seasick. In fact, he got yelled at, or he was doing KP duty, and he went up to get some fresh air, and on the way to get some fresh air, he took an apple. And then his, I guess, sergeant or
the
captain said, if you can eat an apple, you're not seasick. And he had to go back down. So he talked about his seasickness. He talked a little bit about what he did in Korea. He really wanted to be a cook, but they made him a radio operator. And then he told about the story about his father passing, and then coming back to the States, and he finally was able to get a transport and finally have a honeymoon with his wife, and she wanted to go camping, and he was saying, camping? I just spent a year and a half in Korea in the ground. Why do you want to go camping? And that's really basically it, you know. But
So you were sitting over a whole interview with Tom, and you overhear it. He
Right.
was not aware of Korea,
true.
and now he is one of the hero. And the whole transformation, Korea, very poor, one of the poorest country in the world in 1952. Now it's the 10th largest economy in the
Yes.
world. What do you think about the whole thing?
I think it's amazing. I think what is basically lacking is the history of this country and the history of our country in relationship to the world. How things are forgotten, how things are not stressed anymore, how our service people, even our first responders, are forgotten. It's just amazing how things have changed from when I went to school to the way children are being taught now. It just seems to be just glided over. The past is glided over. Everything is towards the future. But future sometimes repeats the past. So you have to pay attention.
Oh, excellent point. It's going to be used in the classroom. It's better than Tom.
Yes. I always said she's smarter than me.
I am a firm believer that history does repeat itself if you don't pay attention.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. You want to go to Korea with Tom?
I would love to. My only reservation is, as you can see, he uses a walker. He has a number of health issues, which is he has congestive heart failure, COPD, and to be away from home or
And
medical
Don't forget diabetes.
and diabetes, yes.
Korea has the best
I'm
hospital
sure it does.
facilities there.
I'm sure it does.
All right, so what do you want to say to his service as a Korean War veterans?
I would like to thank him and anybody else who has served in any of the wars for their service and for their sacrifice, and to their families for what they give up today and in the past.
Do you have any message to the Korean people? While you knowing he served in Korea and Korea has changed.
I think it speaks to the resiliency of the people, that they wanted to uplift themselves from the damages of war and make a better life for themselves and for their children. I give them a lot of credit. Not many people would do that.
Andrea, Andrea.
Yes.
And same last name.
Yes.
I hope so.
Di Giovanna.
All
Di
the vowels.
Giovanna.
Hit all the vowels.
Yeah, when you say the name, all right, just remember the vowel. D, and in Italian, an I has an E sound. So it's D, G, O, Vanna.
Di Giovanna.
Yeah, except if you say it fast. Di Giovanna, that's, if I say Di Giovanna, you'll say what?
I am so thankful for coming for this interview and sharing your story with us. It's going to be analyzed by the teachers and will be remembered in the classroom. As Andrea mentioned, history repeats. We need to learn from the history, and that's why we are doing this. Thank God that you brought your wife, Andrea, with you.
I wouldn't be here unless she came.
All right.
Well, you see me with the walker. I mean, now when I get up, I will have the walker. And Andrea will say, 1, 2, 3. And on 3, I bounce up and she helps me up.
Tom, anything you want to say to this interview?
Well, just thank you very much for having me. I really didn't know what I was going to tell you. I said to Andrea, why am I going? I don't even know what I'm going to say. The only thing I was hoping that you might have a good knowledge of all of the outfits that were in North Korea years ago. I don't know what part of North Korea I was in, but because of the outfit, and my outfit was actually, what do they call it, from the Guard?
National Guard.
A National Guard outfit from Oklahoma. And that's what the 157th Artillery Battalion was attached to. So that's it.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank
Hold
you.
on, hold on.
Oh yeah, you
Let me
got.
take a still shot of 2 of you. 1, 2, kimchi. Thank you so much again.
You got to unhook me.
Professor Han.
I would